Cue up Cat and Terry Crews as Mike Gundy breaks the internet by telling the truth. Who knew he could channel his inner Friday and say, I am not a boy, Damon. I'm a man. I'm well over 40 and you thought I was play pimping, huh?
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by to make this your first listen. We're available on all of your podcasting platforms, visually as well on YouTube. Find me personally on X at AllDayOState, Facebook and Instagram, OState All Day. We are partially brought to you today by FanDuel. In this summer month times, it's kind of hard to get all the sports you need. So FanDuel is hooking all customers up with a boost or a bonus every single day. There's something in this for everyone every day all summer long. So visit FanDuel.com to get started today. We get started with the Mike Gundy conversation that is, of course, taking over the internet. And here's what we can discern from this most recent statement. And I could say it 1,000 times now. Mike Gundy don't play. Mike Gundy play for keeps. If you don't know, now you know, players. Mike Gundy said something that was transparent, open, upfront, and honest. The same transparency that we have never received from Mike Gundy, for the first 18 years of his career at Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy last season was able to dive back into the locker room, become more involved, openly admitting he's working 13, 14 hours a day, which he'd never done previously. He found a new love for the game. He was the dude actually drawing up the X's and O's for all of the special team stuff. He was the dude that was more involved with the defensive and offensive side of the ball, not just specific positions, but getting a better understanding of what we're doing up front. Mike Gundy has evolved. You have some coaches that seem to be unable, I guess would be the right word, or unwilling to adapt and overcome. Mike Gundy has done that. And now he's being chastised for saying something that is 100% legitimate, honest, and truthful. How dare Mike Gundy be one of the only coaches in America that just calls it like it is? Go ask any collegiate football player you know what they did in college. I'd imagine that 95.9% of them are going to tell you, yeah, I drank. Yeah, I probably drank a few beers one time and thought I could make it back to the dorm. Or maybe I drank 4 or 5 beers one time and thought I'd be good as long as I took the back road. Maybe I had 5, 6 beers one time and thought I'd be okay if I had somebody trailing me. We have these conversations in college. Why? Because, I don't know, it flipping happens. Like, it's absolutely crazy to me that Mike Gundy is getting chastised for being honest. The one thing that most coaches are not, and Mike Gundy hasn't necessarily always been super upfront with what's going on with the team, what's going on in practice, how the recruiting is looking, how the development's looking. He hasn't been this way until basically this last season. So last year we got a new Mike Gundy. He blossomed in this new NIL transfer market era, and he stepped up and proved that he wasn't done. This season should be more proof of that. They say sometimes that sometimes bad press is good press, whatever. You know the saying. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do agree with Mike Gundy here, just like I agree with Mike Gundy's decision to let Ollie not only play, but come to Big 12 Media Days. So all of the positive comments that he made right on the big stage in his 20, 30-minute by himself kind of deal is getting completely overlooked because he dared to tell the truth on ESPN. He dared to let a secret spill that apparently a lot of people didn't know. Well, maybe share this, pass this thing along, because I'm going to break some news here. Collegiate players drink beer. Point blank, period. I never touched a single drop of alcohol, smoke, now not a nothing. All I did was run 18 to 13 miles a day, and I had an affinity for the lady friends. When I got to college, things changed. Why? Because it's college. And so as part of growing and maturing is battling through adversity. And I tell you, waking up at 6, 7 a.m. to go to class, or waking up at 6 a.m. to go to work whenever you're not feeling so hot, that's a testament to perseverance, right? It's a learning moment. Just like Ollie Gordon's clearly had a learning moment from this. And Mike Gundy's had several learning moments over the course of his career, because throughout his tenure, he has been very, very, very quick to kick people off the team and be somewhat overly dismissive of particular situations. So this isolated incident has isolated Mike Gundy now because of a comment. And we can all say it 1,000 times. Find me, or you go find you, a handful of people that have never, ever had a few beers and got behind a rig. How dare he be honest? Like, this is ridiculous that people are coming after him, because some of the people coming after him also play college ball. So they know good and daggone well what happens inside and outside the locker room. Of course. Should anybody under 21 be drinking? No. But 95.9% of people in college are going to do some sort of drinking at some point in time. And guess what? You still have to get places. Fortunately, nowadays we have Uber and those ride-sharing type of situations. And as I've said several times, I legitimately think that Ollie Gordon should use this opportunity to become an ambassador and a representative NIL-wise for Uber. This is a good sales pitch. And if he has the season that we know he's capable of, it'll be good for the ride-sharing type of people as well. We need Ollie Gordon for the season. But this fallacy that Mike Gundy is only doing this because he's Ollie Gordon is ridiculous. Go look at the track record of Mike Gundy and dismissing kids off of teams for less at times. Because whenever he did the background and figured out that they weren't going to class, or they weren't doing X, Y, or Z that they were supposed to be doing, and then they have an issue, you're done. Mike Gundy broke the internet and is catching a bunch of crap and being chastised to a degree that is completely hypocritical. Most of the people talking bad about Mike Gundy's comments are people that have participated in college, that have had 4 or 5 beers and driven a vehicle. This whole thing, to me, it's laughable. And the fact that people are pretending that Mike Gundy should be chastised for this because it's not good for college kids to drink. Well, of course it's not. But it is what it is. That's part of college. That's part of growing. That's part of growing up. Is you battle through adversity in college. Right? You get to have disagreements about completely different areas of conversation in college. And sometimes it's over a beer. So the drinking thing in college, it will never, ever, 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 ever stop. Mike Gundy knows that. He was in college too, which is precisely why he made that statement. Mike Gundy has obviously had a couple beers and decided to drive a couple miles down a dirt road out by his land, and he's getting ridiculed for it. So most coaches give nothing but what we call coach speak, right? And it's the same played out style of sentences that we've heard for years and years and years and years. It's called coach speak, right? Oh, I think we're going to have a pretty good ball club, and I like the leadership in the locker room. I like the competitive nature of everybody, and I like the competition at certain positions. These are typically what coaches come out and say. Mike Gundy has decided to hit the fluff it button, break the mold, and just tell you like it is. And this is the result. So people want honesty, but then when you get it, everybody wants to have some clickbait material that they can use to put down Mike Gundy, to throw shade at Oklahoma State. And I'm here to say that's fine. We should welcome it. We should bring it on. The spotlight's continuing to get bigger. And as Gundy mentioned, the difference between last season and this season, in his opinion, is last year we were breaking in 38 new players, a new coordinator, some new schematic changes defensively, and then offensively, we didn't have an identity. We tried to go with the same old offense that we've been running for a long time. regardless of who the offensive coordinator was, but it was like putting a square peg in a round hole. We were not a zone team last season, and that's not Charlie Dickey's specialty. Never has been, never will be. Then we changed it. I mean, we did do a decent amount of the power-oriented stuff throughout the spring last year, but once fall camp started and we got into the football season, we reverted back to the traditional style of offense, which was not working. Again, square peg, round hole. We had to change our identity offensively and lean on the running game, lean on the offensive line and the running back room before we had the massive emergence of Ollie Gordon. And ironically enough, guys, the title of this show was going to be Alan Bowman Steals the Show. Because if you watched his interview, whether live or recorded, he's got a future. And he, of course, he has multiple degrees, but ironically enough, his degrees aren't in where his future might be if he doesn't get an NFL opportunity. But you and I probably not getting very many NFL opportunities. But what we can do is bet. And we can bet on some future NFL dudes, even though summertime isn't ideal for sports coverage because we're all waiting for the football news to drop, for the football season to officially come around. Well, we're only like 6-7 Saturdays away from that being the case. But we are kind of in a dry time. They're not giving us as much sports action as normal. So FanDuel is here to hook it up. They're going to keep giving you sports betting opportunities basically whenever you want. All you have to do is open the app and dream up whatever bet you're looking at the time. This summer, FanDuel's hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus every single day. There's something in this for everyone every day all summer long. Go to FanDuel.com to start making the most out of your summer. Golf, it's a fun relaxation time. Golf's a good sport where you just go out, have a few beers and, drive a golf cart all over the daggone place. And I think all of us should think seriously about putting some money on Viktor Hovland to win the Scottish Open, plus 2,200 odds. So $5 bet on Viktor Hovland winning the Scottish Open gives you 1,100 bones in your pocket, in your wallet, that you can then use to double down on Ollie Gordon, a.k.a. OG2, OG Deuce, OG2 for Heisman. Make sure you go to FanDuel.com and get squared away today. Make the most out of your summer with FanDuel. All righty. So Alan Bowman has a bachelor's degree in business. He has a master's degree in business management. And now he's working on another degree. But if you watched him being interviewed, the one that kind of stuck out to me was by BYU Nation or BYU TV or whatever it was. And Pistol Pete came over and he was messing with him. He's very comfortable in front of a camera. He speaks extremely eloquently. There's no lapses in, his motor skills. There's no pausing for undramatic effects. He has the personality thing down. So all of us would like Zach Robinson to come on back home, just like all of us would like Brandon Weeden to be more involved if he's not already involved enough. I've heard people say they want to see Brandon Weeden get in a media game to cover some Oklahoma State stuff. Well, from what I just witnessed, Alan Bowman is that dude. And here's the deal. It's not just about the improvements in the pocket, which were paramount to the success that we're going to have in the 24 season. He had to make those improvements in the pocket. But as we mentioned previously, it has to be a big benefit to go from the air raid style of Texas Tech to the old school traditional style of Michigan, and then to kind of merge the two together, bring in the option route concepts from Michigan and bring it to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Alan Bowman was primarily the main guy last year because Alan Bowman was the dude in the offseason to be running all these option routes with all the wide receivers. Therefore, he was on a different page with the wideouts than Rangel was or Zane Flores was. So Alan Bowman was able to reap the benefits, but that's because he was able to teach what the option route concepts were at Michigan and what portions of it he liked, what portions of it he didn't like. He's learned so many different systems that now in year 2, he's much more comfortable. Even Alan Bowman has admitted that last year kind of flew pretty fast. He didn't really understand what the Cowboy culture was about. It was significantly different than what they did at Texas Tech or at Michigan. So it took him a little while to get his feet wet. And then, of course, the three-way competition, although it was necessary, that's not the easiest thing for any quarterback to go through, because playing the game of quarterback, it's as much mental as it is physical. So Alan Bowman seems to have not only improved his pocket presence, surely the 7-8 offensive lineman returning is a big part of that. Certainly returning Ollie Gordon and having Sesi Ve'alahe at your disposal, as well as now Trent Howland to be the fourth down guy, the red zone guy, the goal line guy, plus all the wide receivers, right? We've got 2 that almost had 1,000 yards last season, and they weren't even the best on the field. In my opinion, Dejon Stribling is going to have a monumental season this year. Brennan Presley is going to carry some weight, of course, as did Rashad Owens. This may be the season that Talon Shetron gets to show everybody that, he can avoid injuries and make big plays to stay on the field. The tight end position seems to be an integral piece now, not only in the running game, but we're starting to utilize the spacing a little bit better to get the tight end in space. So maybe some of the things we saw of Josiah Johnson are going to be kicked up even a bigger notch this year. Alan Bowman has a future in football, but he also has a future in front of a camera, because the dude was smooth. He clearly knows the game. He's what you would call a film room junkie, as is Garrett Rangel. And I'm sure Zane Flores is pretty comparable there. But Alan Bowman does provide a completely different mindset to this team. This is Brandon Whedon-esque, right? He's being called uncle around the locker room, as he should be in his 77th year of college football. But my expectations for Alan Bowman have only climbed somewhat recently. I have said, your 7th year of college football, you're probably not going to magically figure out the pocket presence that you need to distribute the ball where you want it to go and go through all of your reads. Like, that was the biggest knock on Spencer. Spencer would go through like 2 reads and take off. Well, Alan Bowman last season would read 2 reads and then backpedal. That doesn't seem to be an issue at the moment. Of course, you're going against your own guys, so you never really know. But if you look at the number of starts, you look at the physicality, you look at the body by glass system that's been put forth on this offensive line, you see the weight gains from freshman year to now. I mean, sometimes you're talking 60, 70 pounds. Alan Bowman is the leader that this team does need. Alan Bowman's also the leading candidate, in my opinion, to get into the radio game on behalf of Oklahoma State, college football, whatever. That was a phenomenal representation of what Oklahoma State players typically conduct themselves. Ollie Gordon made a mistake. And he's going to get the opportunity to make amends for it. On the field. Off the field, up until this, there has never, and I repeat, never been an issue. Like, I even reached out to his high school coaches, his high school position coach as well. This is not normal for Ollie. What is normal for Ollie is being willing to take this thing head on, to grab life by the horns and do something about it. And now you have this 1,000 times comment from Mike Gundy on ESPN that is putting even more of a focal point in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So again, the bad publicity might actually get people to a better understanding of why Mike Gundy did this, why he made this decision, and why it does in fact make sense. The Mike Gundy fan club should be getting bigger. I'm in. I said that if he won the Big 12 title this season, hook, line, and sinker, he can do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, go wherever he wants, and I'm happy with it. Well, stuff like this is making me fall more and more head over heels happiness with Mike Gundy because this open, upfront, honest transparency is pretty new. And I love it. And they go, State fans love it. And all of these other expert pundits that are going to throw shade at Mike Gundy throughout the course of the day, and to some degree, Ollie Gordon, take some solace in the fact that we know how Mike Gundy operates. We know that this is a very rare opportunity for Ollie Gordon. And instead of groveling down in the mud, wallowing in the mud with everybody over it, we're choosing the high road. And Mike Gundy is the one leading the charge. So maybe Mike Gundy wins the Big 12 title. I should just get a Mike Gundy autograph tattoo. Because he's turned the corner in ways that I didn't see possible. Sometimes the game passes people by. Mike Gundy said, hold my beer. The game ain't passed me by yet. I'm not done. I've got more trophies to bring home before I call this thing quits. And I'm appreciative of it. I think most of O State Nation is appreciative of it. Not everybody. We did lose a few subs yesterday, but it's okay. It took me a long time to jump on the all aboard Gundy train, as most of you are very well aware. But it's stuff like this and what he did last year that completely changed my perspective. The buy-in from the locker room, from the dudes, was the main key, right? Hearing that, no, Cody, he's legit here. He's in the building. When I went out to eat last night, I saw him up in his office at 11 o'clock at night. That Mike Gundy, this re-energized Mike Gundy, is now a pretty open, upfront, transparent, and honest Mike Gundy. So instead of chastising him for it, we should be more happy, more receiving, because this is the growth of Mike Gundy. Speaking of growth, we did give a Rob Walton some cookies the other day because he deserved them, right? He wasn't the reason that regionals went kind of sideways on us. That was, unfortunately, due to a bunch of other craziness. But we did bring in another Cowboy over the weekend. 6'8". Now, doing some of this, kind of traveling all over for baseball and football, you look for certain things out of certain pitchers. Well, when you're 6'8", 235 pounds, we expect you to throw the ball with a lot of meat and taters. He does that. The Grand Canyon transfer, Hunter Watkins, is now a Cowboy. He's bringing a 3.8 ERA as a true freshman with the Lopes. He threw 47 innings and 18 appearances, striking out 47 while only walking 13 to go alongside his 279 batters average against. So those numbers are good. And Grand Canyon is not a slouch. Grand Canyon is a team that, much like Dallas Baptist and Oral Roberts, isn't exactly a squad that you want to face off against. He's the 5th player that we've picked off out of the portal. So you've got Tommy Altman, you've got Harrison Bodendorf, you've got Mario Pesca, you've got Jason Jones, and now we get this bad mamma jamma out of Simi Valley, California. Coming out of high school, he had a 0.96 ERA, and he was 6'7", had 143 strikeouts, and went to Grand Canyon. So he had several other opportunities, and he chose Grand Canyon, a team that then went 23-7 in their conference. And they made the regional in Arizona. And they fell to a very, very good West Virginia squad. So Rob Walton is another one of these, kind of like Gundy. Maybe he's emerging some growth here. Maybe the management of the staff will be as equal to the development and the ability to get people, from all over the country that want to be Cowboys. We have completely rebuilt this pitching staff while still keeping some of the mainstays like a Gabe Davis. So, of course, Oklahoma State baseball continues to prove why this next season needs to rinse the nasty regional taste out of our mouths, right? I think it's fair. It's fair for everybody. Just like it's also fair that everybody knows David Taylor is still on the warpath. The dude has brought in some of the best wrestlers in the country to transfer to Oklahoma State, like a Wyatt Hendrickson or a Dean Amity. Now we have the young guns, right? The high school class. And it just got to double digits. Everybody's very well aware of Ladarian Lockett, number 3 recruit in the country from Stiller High School, 165 pounds. We just were able to steal Cody Rutledge from Nebraska, who's number 17 ranked wrestler in America. Caden Perler was one of the earliest commits for Oklahoma State. His dad, Nick, was an All-American for Oklahoma State in the mid-90s. And just like his dad, he was able to become a multi-year state champion in high school in Missouri. He was a lighter weight fella, so I'm assuming he'll be 125-ish pounds at Oklahoma State. Then you have Devin Harrison. Devin Harrison was, one of the new commits right after we were hired, or we announced the hire of David Taylor. He also comes from the state of Missouri, a 2-time state finalist, and he's helped win Class A team titles 2 years in a row. Ishmael Guerrero, the son of former Cowboy Eric Guerrero out of Bixby High School. He's 157-pounder, and he's made state finals. He lost the state championship game most recently this previous season. Bo Hickman out of Tuttle, Oklahoma, which has definitely become a nice little pipeline with us, brings along his buddy from Tuttle as well, and Ethan Teague. Ethan Teague is a 175-pounder, and he has the ability to get up to 180. So it'll be pretty interesting to see where he goes from there. Hickman being a 2-time state champion is huge. And Teague is the defending champion in the state of Oklahoma at 157 pounds. You have Cruz Goff, another in-state dude out of Blackwell, Oklahoma. He did win a state title as well at 215 pounds. I think he's projected to be a heavyweight at O State. He might bump down a little bit. Not 100% sure on that one. But he went like 38-1 this previous season. We talked the other day about Ronnie Ramirez, 2-time California state champion. Did not lose a match whatsoever during his junior year at 120 pounds. And some of this is on Pistols Firing, y'all. So make sure you go check that out. And then the newest get to make this class double digits is Landon Roboto. Landon Roboto is out of Minnesota. He's a 3-time state champion at 3 different weights. 152 pounds was the most recent title of his. He broke the single season takedown record at St. Michael Albertville High School. So thank you, Pistols Firing, for kind of updating everybody on that. So make sure you guys go check that out as well. Meanwhile, I think we are going to skedaddle on off of here. We're hitting the highway. We're heading to Edmond. Can't wait. Baseball is going to be good. Hanging out with the guys is going to be good. Hit me up on some of the socials if you would like to come watch some baseball and you're going to be in the Edmond area over the weekend. It'll be, it'll be worth the trip. All righty, y'all. So all we're going to have for this one right here, as always, I love you. God bless. Go Pokes. Thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. We're available on all of your podcasting platforms, visually as well on YouTube. Make sure you hit the stars on the podcasting country. Leave a review. More importantly, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Sharing is caring. Hook it up. All righty, y'all. Later, taters.